Hey there, Internet. I was poking around my mill the other day, and as you can see, I have this completely ridiculously oversized vise on here. And I unscrewed this bottom plate, which I had never done before. And what I discovered was it's actually magnetically attached. So there's four magnets, two on each side, one here and one here, and it just pops right up, which is really quite nice. And I took this over to the bandsaw and just trimmed it down. I took 20 millimeters off, so now there's only one magnet registering on each side. But the mill's never going to travel down this far. So if I want to back it up and get this extra clearance in here, all I got to do is lift it up, and then when I'm done, boom, just let it go. So I thought that was worth sharing. The other question I have for any of the folks who might have this particular device is this is the quill lock. This mill, I've talked about this before. There's a fine adjustment feed here, and that interfaces, let's see if I can do this. That interfaces with this rack on the back of the quill. And while you can just lock this and use the fine feed, there's definitely play in it, especially when you're making a heavy cut. So if you want to lock the quill out, what you have to do is you lock this and you lock this. And what I've discovered, sometimes the best way to do it is actually to drive this down. Maybe I can even show it. Zero it out. So drive it down. Let's say you want to drive it down 10 millimeters. There's 10 millimeters. And then you can drive it back up 10 millimeters. It's 0.1 millimeters. You can drive it back up with the backlash out right where you want it. It's a little tricky with one hand. And then you can lock this out here. And I believe that actually improves the cut, the consistency and the depth of cut. But what I wanted to do is get rid of this thing. And I had a wonky idea to use this, because I think I found this in a scrap place, and it's just so nice. It's just a nice piece of metal. It just looks nice. There's a little piece of ceramic in there. And so I turned this down, and I had hoped that the that I could just feed it in there, and I made this. I made them the same length. But what I guess what I can't really figure out, so they line up pretty decently. But what I can't really figure out is if I take a regular 10 millimeter bolt and thread it in there, it never really seems to lock the quill. And I've looked in there with a flashlight. I guess I'll do it again real quick. Can you see that? Oh, that looks awful. Anyway, there's a little thing in there, and that little thing is supposed to, it presses up against the quill so that you're not going to mar the surface of the quill. Actually, is that better? No. Now, that might just be my phone. I see blinky lights. The phone does not like this LED anyway. So, anyway, the way I would understand that it would work is this just goes in there, and presses up against that little thing in there, and the shoulder here doesn't have anything to do with the locking. But when I grab a regular bolt and stick it in there and tighten it, it doesn't actually tighten the quill, or it doesn't lock the quill. So, I don't know, it's really funky. There doesn't seem to be any other pieces in here where, you know, I was thinking maybe that shoulder's pushing up against something, but I think that something is in the hole and completely inside of the threads. So if you happen to know the right way to make a new one of these, I mean, let me know in the comments, because I'd like to have this on here. I think it would be kind of fun, and it would be very functional, and it would definitely stick out less than this. If you're wondering, this is a baking powder and CA glue, and it seems to be working really well. It's pretty solid. So, you know, this does work effectively enough that I can continue to use it. And I made this part too short. It should be another 10 millimeters longer. And then I actually needed to cut some splines in there, because the inside of this is spline. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, if you know the right way to make a replacement for that, let me know. And you know, hopefully you get some benefit from this little Easter egg I found, because I didn't see it in the manual anywhere. And again, if you have something mounted on here, you can get this pretty far out of the way if you need to. You also get access to the lead screw. So anyway, thanks for watching.